43.
Two wild card teams over here. We got New York Islanders and the Canucks. New York Islanders, what are they, 1 point out?
1 point out.
They lose today. They could be in trouble. So it's Ottawa has the first wild card seed. Montreal has the second. Ottawa has 79 points. We'll put a little picture up down here somewhere.
We're about 70 games into the season.
Yeah.
You think Ottawa has a stranglehold on that first spot? The first wild card spot?
I think they do.
I think they do too.
I think so. They do.
I want to see what their
I think
schedule is.
They're not too far, I think, from the top 3 as well. Oh, wait, never mind.
They're far. I think if they were in this division with the New York Devils, they would take out the Devils for sure. Devils are like, I think they might lose this. Low key, if the Devils, somebody loses this spot, it could be the Devils, like somehow.
Oh, definitely.
They have like, 7 more points than everybody else?
But then that would require, wouldn't that require either the Rangers or Islanders to pull it off, right?
Yeah.
10 games.
It's going to be tough. Islanders have the best chance, even though they're down 1-0 right now, but they have, 12 games? There's 2 games in hand.
But six teams within 7 points of each other.
Yeah.
Right? And including Detroit, even though I don't think they have enough gumption to get over the top and put a run together. But
even Columbus fell apart. A lot of these wildcard teams just like have been playing.
They started going downwards.
This is the shitty thing about the wildcard spot. Ottawa could easily be a 6 seed. But now they're gonna be stuck at 7 because their division is harder than the other division.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But Ottawa doesn't have the points raiser, right? They're not gonna surpass any of those.
They're not gonna surpass them. But I mean, like if it was the old way, they could have easily been the 6 seed.
If you're Ottawa, you have a chance to play the Toronto Maple Leafs in the first round. I mean, I would take that over most of the other teams outside.
You can probably win that series too.
Yeah. That team that would be a quality series because Ottawa's it's one of those series where it's. The Battle of Ontario, pressure's on Toronto once again, even more than you'll probably even more than it normally is.
Ottawa swept them this season series.
Yeah, so
I agree with you guys. Ottawa looks primed to make the playoffs, which leaves one spot left.
Yeah,
and we have Montreal, the Islanders, the Rangers, Columbus, and Detroit.
Detroit's
Boston, and Boston. You never know. Boston.
I count about Boston. Boston cooked.
They might make the finals. Who knows?
2-7-1 in the last 10.
Boston has a chance, and so does Pittsburgh.
Even from like the Rangers, Jackets, Wings, and Bruins, look at their last 10 games, right?
Yeah.
3-6-1, 2-7-1, 3-7. Like they're trending in the wrong direction, where the Islanders are trending up. Montreal, personally, I want Montreal to stay in that post spot.
Same.
Having Montreal fans in the playoffs, or even having them in the playoffs, is way better 100%. For hockey in general.
But you think the Isles? You like the Isles' last 10 games, eh? You think that might get them over the top?
They're getting points, right? They've only had 2 out regulation losses in the past 10.
This is classic New York Islanders right here, right? Where they're
definitely
they're right in the middle of the pack. They might not make the playoffs. They might make the playoffs, and they're a veteran team. So I feel like out of all these teams outside of the Rangers, they probably have the best chance because of the veteran part.
How funny would it be that they do make the playoffs and they pull that boring ass style?
Oh, they're gonna do it,
and they beat Washington.
That can happen.
Anything can happen in playoffs.
I would love to see Montreal versus Washington in the first round. Just like
that'd be good.
Take us back to 2010 again.
Yeah.
Right.
We had that upset against them, and then it could happen again. You never know.
OV at the Bell Center, that'd be something too.
Yeah,
right?
that'd be a great series.
It's I don't know how to slice it though. Islanders, Rangers, they have the veteran teams.
I thought Rangers for the longest time was going to make a comeback here, but they've fallen off. They've been battled all year long, right?
Yeah.
They battled back into the picture, but they're still fumbling all year, which makes no sense. Even that game against the Canucks, they got outshot by 20, 30 shots, something like that.
Yeah.
Canucks
39-11. Yeah, and they pulled off a win somehow.
Even yesterday, their game against LA, like they were up 1-0, and then they just stopped playing pretty much.
Yeah.
And then Kings ended up winning 3-1 or something.
Yeah.
Like they're not even trying to get points or anything.
Who's been Panarin's been real quiet this season. He hasn't been the same as.
I think he's been playing pretty well.
He's been playing well, but he's been real quiet compared to.
I think he's the only one on the team that's actually played good this year.
This year's just been an indictment on the entire team.
Yeah.
And it's crazy because before the year, all of us were kind of in a consensus this is one of the top contenders in the East for sure.
Yeah. Some of them had them in the finals.
Yeah. Some of them had them winning the cup.
Somebody had them win the cup this year too.
And they added JT Miller, right? So you think they'd be really popping. But
and the hype that JT Miller was getting all year long, right, leading up to once he came to the Rangers, they're like, "Oh,
he's gonna help him win a championship, or not? He's a championship material."
Well, don't speak too soon. Or actually, they might make the playoffs. What if he goes on a magical run?
That's what they need. If they can make a playoffs, that's very possible, right? They really have this magical run because Shesterkin is that goalie who could get you.
They have the team that can make a run.
Yeah,
still.
exactly.
But
so if they sneak in, they're a dangerous team. But they gotta fucking pull it together these last 10 games here.
What's their schedule?
If I'm Washington, I'd rather play Montreal over the Islanders or the Rangers because both those teams are veteran teams and they have good goaltending.
Yeah.
Whereas Montebo, he did make Team Canada, But I like that matchup over Sorokin or Shesterkin.
He might have learned a lot, man. Team Canada. He might have got lit up by some great players.
In the press box. So he wasn't even dressed.
So the Rangers are on their California trip. Then they play Minnesota. I think that's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, they have a tough schedule. I'd say.
Devils are probably a win for them, but then they can still fumble that game. They know how. Tampa, Philly, easy win.
But that
Islanders,
matchup on the 10th, April 10th,
Islanders, that's
versus
a big one. Yeah, that could be a big game.
Yeah.
The last 4
Especially-
games are hard.
Yeah,
I think the
last
entire
3 games,
schedule,
last
except for maybe like 1 or 2 games, is tough.
It's gonna be tough. They got no guaranteed spot. They needed to win those games earlier.
What about Columbus? You guys think Columbus has anything left, or is it
No,
over?
they're done.
I think they cooked now.
They're done.
I mean, they have Werenski playing 25 plus minutes. I think he's playing the most minutes for defenseman right now.
Yeah.
Outside of Quinn Hughes, I think Quinn Hughes is behind him still, but he's averaging the most ice time.
You're telling me
in
it's not that
March.
LeBron James jersey didn't spark him?
They did the opposite. It did the classic choke.
They're still only 2 points back, same games.
Yeah,
But I don't,
But they're 2-7-1 in the last 10 games.
that's brutal. But
You know me, I'm a big last 10 guy, so.
They cooked. I'm shocked about Detroit again. Same situation, same thing. Last year, same thing again. Last year they had a better chance of making it, and they blew it in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
And this year they, Stevie Y, I don't know if Stevie Y guaranteed, but someone guaranteed a playoff performance. And there's no playoffs out here for.
I mean, they fired their coach halfway through the season. They should have fired him before the season, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they held on to him for too long. Now it's like you're in the same position you've been in the last 2 years, and you're on the playoffs.
And they got a youngish team, kind of like Ottawa.
Yeah.
And Ottawa took the next step.
Yeah.
At least for now. And like you guys are saying, Detroit, another year, another disappointing performance. But any team that has Dylan Larkin as that top center,
I agree.
You have to take a look in the mirror and be realistic.
They needed number 1 center over Dylan Larkin for sure. Dylan Larkin could probably be a solid second line center.
He's Stevie Y, dude. He's a Stevie
Because you're
Y.
asking too much out of him too,
Yeah.
right? And Lucas Raymond, he's popping. He's solid, but maybe they're a few years away.
That might be their next core. Those guys, they're Mo Sider and Lucas Raymond and whoever else. They have
So as
Edmondson.
of right now, would you say it's a 3-team race for the last spot?
It looks like, yeah, at least because I don't think Columbus is gonna bounce back here. I just don't see it happening.
No, I mean,
they're right there. They're only 2
right
points
there,
out.
right? Yeah, even
You can't-
Detroit. I
Anything
wouldn't
can
count
happen
Detroit.
here. That's
You
the
can't
beauty.
keep them out. And even Detroit in that sense, you can't count them out because they do got a game in hand against the Rangers.
Yeah.
The Rangers are the only team that's looking like
They're in trouble.
They're in trouble because they have 2 games in hand on almost every single team, and they're still behind.
And they got a hard schedule too.
And they got a harder schedule.
But I was gonna say, out of all these teams, who do you guys think will actually make it? Who's gonna be the second wildcard team? Montreal, New York Islanders, Rangers, Columbus, and Detroit. Or JP, are you gonna bring your team, the Boston Bruins, out?
Well, I tried, but got shut down earlier on. But this is interesting, isn't it? It's almost a coin flip.
Yeah.
My heart's saying Montreal, but my if I'm putting money on the line, I'm saying New York Islanders.
I agree.
Oh,
I agree.
definitely.
That's my take too. Because Islanders, they've done this before,
Yeah.
where they snuck into the playoffs.
My boy Barzell's
I don't-
back.
Yeah.
He's stopping and popping,
Yeah.
dude. he's not gonna quit.
I don't want to do that to the Montreal fans. I'm going to go Islanders as well. So, with my luck. So
Yeah.
That just occurs.
Trying to save them,
Yeah.
Trying to save 'em.
try to save them, right?
Consider this a consensus. Then I also think the Islanders is going to be the team that gets it done.
Hope for Montreal though.
We hope for Montreal.
We hope for Montreal, but we think New York.
Yeah. In the West.
Nah, Patois, they watch them be down. Patois is gonna pull the goalie in like 5 minutes.
Oh, I hope so, man. The Canucks, because
For
that's
us,
perfect. Perfect, because the Canucks are the West Coast are one of the teams competing for a wild card spot. This is looking tougher here
Right.
because
Yeah.
St. Louis has been on a tear
I think
recently.
they're 13-2-2 since the Four Nations break.
Yeah, I think the team that they might take over the first wild card spot and leave the Wild for the second one.
Jeez.
The way they've been running, they might even take Could they even take a? No, that'll be
No.
tough.
No, they're done. The divisions are.
It's a wild card battle right here.
Yeah.
So I think Minnesota might lose his first wild card spot because St. Louis has been scoring a lot of goals too. It's not like they're just winning like these close games. They've been beating teams like 4-1, 5-1 or whatever.
Yeah, like they killed Montreal yesterday.
Yeah, they've been on a tear.
And honestly, if you're the Jets, you'd probably want to play the Wild instead of the Blues.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know about
6-1, 4-1, 4-1,
They want a
4-3,
complete
4-1,
team, I'd say.
7-2.
that. Do they? Franco? You're really big on Franco to be.
Team Canada.
They have the championship.
That's true. They do have the champion,
They do.
but they don't have
Cam
Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly, he ain't driving through Tim Hortons this season. Right? He ain't there.
They got other guys. They got Bushnevish or something. Come on. But look at the schedule already.
They have
what
the
is that?
easiest schedule.
Yeah, but they're on a crazy win streak too, though, right? I mean, they beat the Canucks. That was a big win. That was the biggest win they have so far. The rest of the teams, I mean, they even finished off the season. They got Nashville, Colorado, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Colorado, Winnipeg, Edmonton, Seattle, and then Utah.
Yeah.
There's a few hard games, but there's not many. I think these guys lock in a playoff spot for sure.
You think so?
Yeah.
Once again, I gotta say this playoff format. Format just always biting the wild card teams in the ass is because Edmonton already announced today that McDavid's gonna be out for long term.
Yeah.
Draisaitl might come back this year. So they're basically resting. They're basically resting their guys because they know they're locked into that spot.
Yeah.
No, there's no chance Canucks are gonna come or Calgary's gonna come and take that third seed.
Right.
So they're basically like, oh, we can rest our players as much as we want. That's what the fuck is that all about?
Yeah,
What
like
the hell is that
Minnesota's
all
only
about?
like 2
This
points
is-
back of
That's
them.
bullshit.
They're
Minnesota.
taking advantage of the rules, right? It's
Yeah.
like the long-term IR that Tampa and some of these teams.
That's
take
true, but like
advantage
it's
of it.
just kind of bullshit in that sense. Like that just like it diminishes the.
But Zach, what's to say that Edmonton they still might end up with more points regardless, right? Like because they have 87 points in 70 games, and who's to say that Minnesota or St. Louis would have caught them in any
Right.
event?
If McDavid and Leon's not playing,
That's that's like
I'm not too keen on
Ryan Nugent-Hopkins show, man. They got Seattle. That's a nice
Dallas,
win.
Calgary. Calgary's been on tear too.
Yeah.
Vegas. I mean, they have a pretty hard schedule. Vegas, St. Louis.
But like Zach is
Yeah.
saying,
They
now
lost
they're just going to be
games.
now they're just
coasting,
going to coasting, like,
Yeah.
which they should be doing. Honestly,
they don't
they should
need
be
to.
resting.
Yeah,
for
they
the
should be
playoffs.
they. I'm not blaming the Edmonton Oilers. They're doing what's all. It's a part of the game.
You're
the
saying they're
game's
finessing
the game's
it.
a game, right?
Right.
But the game is out there, and it's either play or get played.
Right, they're playing the game. They're finessing it. They're doing that. But like, I think it's unfair to like Minnesota and what was the other team? St. Louis,
yeah.
because they could easily take that. Like if it was the old
Yeah.
days,
Yeah,
1,
they
2,
would've
8,
taken their spot,
They would
right?
have took the 6th seed.
Yeah.
Right, they would have been chilling.
Speaking about the other Alberta team, Calgary, where do you think their chances are making it?
Ooh.
Because they have 3 games in hand of St. Louis, and
I
could
I
take
think
them
they
all.
could take. I don't know if they can take St. Louis though. Maybe Wild. I feel like St. Louis is going to lock in a playoff spot because they've been winning so much, and their schedule just gets easier and easier. Minnesota without Kaprizov, I don't know if Kaprizov's coming back anytime soon.
I don't know if Minnesota's going to drop like that though, SP. Right? Like
They have 2 points in hand. 2 games in hand. If
Yeah.
Calgary wins 2 games, then they're right there.
6 points.
I think they're 2 points behind then,
Yeah,
right?
Canucks are right there too, so they could also take the.
Canucks is just like such a weird run they've been on.
both Vancouver and Calgary, they need some favorable help from
Results,
other teams
yeah.
for Minnesota and
for
St.
sure,
Louis. Because
for
if
sure.
they've widened the gap a little bit now, and barring anything unforeseen, I don't see, like you're saying, Sir Charles, St. Louis giving up that spot.
Yeah.
You got a veteran team. They've been clicking on all cylinders for like the last month and a half.
Yeah.
And even Minnesota, I know that, Calgary's got a few games in hand. They already have 40 wins.
Right.
They're a good team. They got good goaltending. It'd be very unforeseen for them to just drop out and like the bottom falls out. So to speak.
100%. True. And you guys talk about every other team on the in the Eastern Conference. Why are we not talking about Utah? We're not gonna get about Utah.
Well, what's there to talk about? It's another year of just doing jack
You're done.
shit.
They're pretty behind. I mean, if the Canucks, if we're going to skip over the Canucks, we might as well skip over the Utah Hockey Club too, because Canucks, they're so far behind. Like they're going to have to get over Calgary and then whoever else, St. Louis and Minnesota, one of those teams, right?
Yeah.
So they've hurt themselves a lot, and then Utah,
They shot themselves in the foot.
they look like they had a chance at one point, and then St. Louis was the one team that caught on fire.
Right.
Calgary's catching on fire again. I think it's those 2 teams that probably are the most likeliest to make the playoffs.
Calgary and
St. Louis.
Vancouver, they have to catch fire, like you're saying, to charge like win 9 out of their last 10,
Yeah.
something like that, and then maybe there's a chance.
Yeah. Then you gotta hope like St. Louis loses like
2 to 3
games.
yeah.
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 But barring that, then I don't know. And I don't even think Vancouver is capable of winning 9 of their last 10. the way
I'll
they've
say
been
this.
playing.
They have a hard schedule too.
My point on the Calgary and Canucks thing is Calgary got the heart, right, to do
Yeah.
it, but they don't got the skill to do it.
Right.
Canucks got the skill to do it, but they ain't got the heart to do it.
I think
So you're
Canucks
saying
have more
if you-
skill than heart more than skill now with this team they have.
That's true.
That's
That's
true.
not saying much.
That's true.
That's not saying
Ever
much.
since they went into New York, Patterson, Elias Patterson, the aura of JT Miller is just, like Sadar says, is
Did you
just
see
too
the
much for
Devils
him.
game? Did you see the Devils game?
So you're saying if they fuse together, Calgary and Vancouver, maybe they would have had a shot.
It'd be a perfect day. They win. They take it out. Send Calgary to Canucks.
I still think Canucks are going to make it.
Damn.
I'm not going down. I'm going down with the ship, Razor. You know me. I ain't no fair weather fan. Right? Shit, they're winning 9 of the last, and they win tonight against Islanders.
You guys both just said they had more skill than heart. This team has more heart than skill. if
No
anything.
doubt. But Canucks, rarely have a team on the Canucks ever had heart. Right? They're always
I
fucking
mean, like
switching in line. So.
in comparison of Calgary, that's what I mean. Like if you
yeah.
compare
Yeah.
the Canucks to Calgary, it seems like they have more skill than Calgary.
Yeah, they do.
But Calgary just seems like they have.
I mean, they have.
Calgary's just running on the
They have a
heart.
Hawk goaltender too. So
Yeah.
Calgary's been playing
That's
out of their
huge.
mind all year, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I don't know if they have enough to go on a 9-game win streak or something to get in. You know what I mean? Like they put it on the line already to
Yeah.
begin with.
Especially jumping either one of Minnesota and St. Louis, that's gonna be a tough
Yeah.
task.
Because
I
like
mean-
if you're saying charge, if St. Louis jumps Minnesota, which
Yeah.
could happen, I don't know if Minnesota's gonna be dropping out, right? Because they're already at 85 points.
But then if you look at Calgary, say Calgary, they're already on a 4-game winning streak, right?
Right.
Say they win 2 more games, now they're what are that? 2 points behind?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, I mean,
tie games, and then you could anything possible. Do they play each other at any point? Did Calgary play Minnesota? That'd be a solid game if that ends up happening. Yeah, they do.
oh, that could be
Calgary has a chance,
Yeah,
and then
that's
they play
another one.
Canucks too. Canucks are going to want to play for the playoff spot. They're playing a bunch of teams that are fighting for a playoff spot down the road right here. Minnesota,
Tough schedule.
Yeah.
so
Very
it's not
tough
going to be
schedule.
easy at all.
It's been fun. 3 weeks?
Yeah, last 3 weeks are going to be solid. That's why we're doing this video. So what do you guys think? What are your guys' predictions here?
Honestly, I think Vancouver is going to take the first wildcard spot. And,
My honest prediction is I think St. Louis and Minnesota both hold on.
I say it stays out of this.
I think the
I'm gonna write the script here. St. Louis takes the first card, and then Vancouver takes the second one. All right, the script. That's cinema right there. Canucks go second wildcard spot, and then St. Louis takes the first. Because I'm a Canucks fan, Jyoti.
Oh, you know
I don't
me.
you.
I can't put the hex on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Me, JP, Canucks fan.
You know what Jutti said? If we go by the last 10 games, I
Yeah.
think it's going to be St. Louis and Calgary just with the last 10 games.
Yeah.
They've been on fire the last 10 games. 8-1-1 and 6-2-2.
Yeah.
Just those two. I think it's going to be strategy, right? I think St. Louis is 100% taking that first wild card spot.
Unless Kaprizov comes back, then I'm not worried about the Wild at all. Because then it's like, okay, now you got a
That's
star
true,
player
yeah.
who's probably going to carry you a few more wins than you already did win.
But even if he does come back, maybe that just momentum's like, sometimes star player can't save you for everything, you know.
But with the Wild, though, I feel like the luck's going to run out at some point. Like, how many more games are you going to win without your star player? You don't have, like, an unreal roster either, right?
Should trade for Brockman the other chance or not?
That's true. Should have.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Vancouver's gonna be one of the wild card teams. That's for sure. And then I don't know. I don't know if it's gonna be Minnesota or St. Louis. It's gonna be one of those two. And that schedule's gonna be tough for Minnesota.
Yeah.
Down the stretch.
Yeah.
Like you're saying,
I think all those teams outside of St. Louis have a hard schedule. Vancouver, Minnesota, and Calgary.
Let
Yeah.
me
I
just
think
say,
they have the
like,
top 10 worst
if this game, we're watching one of the games right now, the result is 2-1 for Islanders. If the Islanders win today, I think the Canucks are cooked.
Canucks
Yeah.
are out.
Yeah, then they're tough. Then
Yeah.
it's be tough.
Yeah.
They're out.
I think
They need to
like
go. They gotta go 9-1.
They got to go 9-1.
Like
I think
starting
it's
now.
Yeah.
I think it's like 8-4 record or something like that.
Yeah,
7-2.
8-4, something like that.
7-2. Oh, but that was before this last game.
Yeah.
So basically, it's not looking good, bro.
It's not looking good, bro.
There's a chance.
Looking good.
I can't recall a time ever when Vancouver ran the table the last 10 games to make the playoffs. It's
94,
always usually the
dude.
opposite.
94, you had to be there. It was good times. We were just Stanley Cup Finals that year.
Outside of that year, I can recall a lot of years where these last 10 games Vancouver goes like 3-7 or.
And then we
Don't worry about
did-
20
It's very normal
It's a
how we
20-year
feel.
anniversary. They'll do it. 20-year anniversary.
Oh,
They're comfortable here. This is what the Canucks are supposed to be. They're here not making the playoffs. Get the 15th overall pick.
Well, how's Zach Levine gonna take it? He's the reason that they didn't sell a lot in the trade,
Did you
allegedly.
guys hear, side note, but like on the Athletic or something, Ackley was rated like the second worst.
Yeah, I saw
behind
that.
Buffalo
Yeah, I
one.
saw that.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Sign me up.
That's tough.